I was raised just up the road in Westchester, and back when Westchester was this much smaller place, there weren't nearly as many people, a lot more cornfields and wide open spaces, and went to St. John's Parish. And not having a school, we went down to St. Gabriel in Glendale, so went to Glendale for third through eighth grade, and then went to Lakota High School. People always like to ask me, well, oh, which Lakota did you go to? Did you go to East or West? And I have to say, no, I'm too old for that. I just went to Lakota. And then when I graduated from Lakota, I went to a small school called Heidelberg College up in Tiffin, Ohio, and eventually majored in communication and theater arts, thinking that either I wanted to be a college professor teaching public speaking or a DJ, something like that in radio. When I graduated, didn't quite know if those were the right fit, and so did some graduate work. And over the time that I was doing that graduate work, I had been involved with the Catholic Club in school, but I recognized something was kind of missing. And I guess, I was still a good Catholic kid. I was like, oh, I'm not going to church. Maybe that's part of the problem. So I started getting involved at St. John's again, got involved in the Christ Renews His Parish program, and was kind of recognizing in this discernment of what I wanted to do with my life, that maybe working for the church in some way was something that would be a good use of my skills and what I like to do. Thought maybe be a youth minister or something like that. Started taking classes in the lay ministry program, and doing the Christ Renews retreat, got to know the priests in the parish better, other people in the parish, and they kept saying, well, have you ever thought about being a priest? And I kept saying no, but that kind of kept coming through, and eventually that was kind of how God broke through and said, yeah, actually, I would like you to think about this. And so then in the fall of 1998, I entered seminary, and the rest is history. I had actually talked 2, maybe 3 years ago to Brian Bizig, who I've known for a number of years, because I've been not very, but tangentially involved with the National Pastoral Musicians. And I had said to Brian, kind of an inquiry, what's Father Tom thinking? Because I've known Father Tom for years, working with Priestly Life Committee and different activities in the Archdiocese. Knowing Father Tom, I knew it was going to be, what's the right word? Well organized, that things were going to be in place that were going to make it easy for a new priest. Not easy, but easier for a new priest to come in. I like that whole atmosphere of people involved in their faith and involved in the faith of their children, and being a part of that, taking ownership of that. And that's, a place I wanted to be. And as a diocesan priest, that's really our charism. That's who we are, in helping and shepherding and leading that type of a community. I have a mom and dad. I'm named for my father, so I'm Edward Burns Jr. A lot of a game I always play with people when I first meet them is find out my middle name. It's going to be years before you find it out, but that can be a game. The young people will probably like that especially. And then I have my mom, Susan, and then I have a younger brother, Andy. And then I have a cat, my brother has a dog, so those are the furry grandchildren that we've given my parents. My brother isn't married. I do enjoy, I enjoy golf. I grew up playing golf with my family. I have a younger brother, my parents, who all enjoy the game. We enjoy it so much, we even watch it on television and enjoy that a lot. But I also enjoy cycling. I come from, coming from Dayton has a wonderful bike trail network. That's been something that I've really enjoyed. I don't get to do it as much, but I do like to travel. I just got to go to Ireland back in January, where I'd never been. So just, exploring that. I do enjoy genealogy, so I'm Irish and German, so where did my ancestors come from? What were those places like? I find that very interesting. Favorite food? Depends, really on the time of year. In the wintertime, good desserts, a German chocolate cake would probably be my favorite dessert, or a good apple pie in the fall. In the summer, a hot dog or a brat at a baseball game or an Oktoberfest. Maybe throughout the year, just a good steak and potatoes meal. I like fancier things, but sometimes just give me a nice steak and a potato and I'm happy. If it's food but not a vegetable, I probably like it. I listen to all the 80s stations, groups like the B-52s, REM. Probably my favorite group of all time would be U2. Students of mine currently now are really interested that I know people like Keane, Coldplay, Snow Patrol. I don't play any instruments. I can't even play chopsticks on a piano. I failed miserably at the recorder in 5th grade. So no. Instruments, no. I'm told I have a decent singing voice, so at Mass I will occasionally sing a prayer or chant something. I'm told that I'm pretty good at that. I'm not sure if they're being polite or not, or if they really mean it. You'll have to ask others. I enjoy music. I like opera. I'm looking forward to coming back and hearing the Cincinnati Symphony and the Pops again. Dayton has some wonderful music as well. But personal talents, very little. If I had to pick one favorite form of prayer, I really do enjoy the Mass. I was an altar boy at St. Gabriel. For people who remember Father Coverman back in the 80s, I remember just kind of being with him on the altar and just kind of in awe. It was one of the very first, views of a priest that I ever had, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I'm very much a night person. The hours between about 11 a.m. and 10 p.m., those are good for me. So to get up in the morning, I do like coffee. I try to convince people that I'm not addicted to coffee. I try to convince myself I'm not addicted to coffee. I think if I'm honest, that's probably not true. Although I'm more of I think if there's an addiction, it's ritual. I just like to have a ritual in the morning. I'm also what's called a Benedictine oblate, which is many religious orders have associates or a third order. Franciscans have secular Franciscans. The Benedictine answer to that is what are called oblates, which is the Latin word for offering. It comes from the offering of young children and the rule of Saint Benedict. But it's over the past 150 years or so, ways for men and women, Catholic and non-Catholic, even non-Christian, who feel a certain draw towards Benedictine and monastic spirituality to participate in the life of the monastery without actually living at the monastery. So I belong to St. Meinrad Archabbey down in southern Indiana. That's fine. My birthday is December 7th. I love German chocolate cake. Terrible, shameless plug for